I think Nelson is absent today, so we can go ahead and get started. I will call to order the regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission today, November 3rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Open it up. And let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I will lead. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ooh, I think it went out of order. Luis, can you call the roll?
Of course. Chair Taylor.
Present.
Vice Chair Idner.
Present.
Commissioner Firestone.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Ruff.
Here.
And Commissioner Walker is absent this evening.
Thank you. And we will move on to public comments, not items not on the agenda. Anyone present who'd like to speak under public comments not on the agenda? Okay. Police report.
And Chair, I do have a speaker online,
Oh,
Tim
okay.
Kraut, and I will go ahead and bring him in.
Sorry about that.
Tim, can you confirm you can hear us, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So first of all, I just wanted to, my comment's going to be on Ojai Day. And the first thing I wanted to say is I wanted to send a shout out to Weston Montgomery for helping us out, get set up for that day. He was real helpful and appreciate all of his help. Okay, so since I didn't see anything on the agenda about Ojai Day, I thought public comment would be the best place for me to share with you on our recent pickleball demonstration at Ojai Day on October the 15th. As you know, the first Ojai Day was held on April 7th, 1912, the year Edward D. Libby deeded Libby Park to the newly formed Civic Association. Much has happened since that time. There has been many visitors coming to town to experience the Ojai hospitality that Ojai Day represents. We, the Ojai Valley Incorporated, displayed that hospitality on Ojai Day by having a free demonstration for all to enjoy. Even though we had some drizzle in the morning, we managed to dry the courts so we could welcome Ojai Day attendees to experience pickleball. We had over 100 people stop by to participate or observe the fun of pickleball. We also handed out information about pickleball and free water bottles. It was especially heartwarming to see all the youngsters playing. Even part of the Nordhoff tennis team joined the fun. Some participants had never played any paddle sport, but had lots of fun learning the game. Overall, all who participated had a great positive experience, resulting in more people being added to the continuing explosive number of people joining the ranks of pickleball players. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, any other speakers wishing to speak on items not otherwise on the agenda? No?
None online.
I cannot read, but
We also have Assistant City Attorney Effie
Thank you.
Margolis joining us this
Thank
evening.
you. I can't see that far away without my distance glasses. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the police report.
Sure. So we'll go ahead and begin with the skate park. For the month of October, there were no calls of service, no extra patrols noted, no arrests or citations, and one call that was unrelated to recreation, which was a traffic stop. For Livy Park, there are 13 calls for service, 12 extra patrols, 3 arrests made, 2 of those which were a subject with warrant, and 0 calls unrelated to recreation. As you may see on 1025, there is a note of an individual possibly being nude. Staff did inquire with PD on that and the outcome. They noted that they didn't have any additional information, which either meant the subject was gone before deputies arrived or was not actually nude. If such was the case, they would have either been arrested or received a citation there. For Zero Zodi, there were 7 calls for service, 4 extra patrols noted, 1 arrest, and 1 call unrelated to recreation. For City Hall campus, there was 1 call for service and 1 extra patrol noted. Club Vista Park, there were no calls for the month of October. Rotary Park, there was 1 call for service pertaining to a theft from a vehicle. In Daly Ranch Park, there was 1 call for service pertaining to an individual smoking cannabis in the park. With that, that concludes the report for the month of October. And turn it over to the commission for any questions.
I have a quick question about the Libby Bowl. There was noise complaints. Was that during a concert?
That was for the, if memory serves me right, for the Ojai Day event.
Okay.
During the day? What was the time?
9 p.m.
Oh. I thought Ojai Day ended at.
I think they had Ojai night.
They had Ojai night. They had
got
an
it.
after.
Okay.
So was there some sort of different timeline or time shut down because of that? Or
No,
because
no,
it's
no, no.
usually it's 10 p.m.
It
right?
is 10 p.m. Yep.
So they complained before. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Luis, when you chart the totals for the past 3 months, when did we start keeping the data for the, in that manner? I assume that's like in Excel or?
It is an
curious
Excel.
how far back.
We have, I don't recall the exact date we began, but I would estimate about a year or so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious then if we can, when we start having enough data, if we can do another column for prior years to
Sure.
kind of do, I just would like to see if the whole point of doing this in this format was to capture that data so that we can see if calls for service are on the rise, if, crime is increasing or theft or whatever. It would be, I think, helpful to, I just would like to see it.
Sure, absolutely. We could do that for
Curious to see
the,
the trend.
yeah, for next month. We
Okay.
can bring that back.
If we have enough data to go, that'd be great.
Of course.
Okay. And do we have a public works report tonight?
So for Public Works, for the month of October, we'll go ahead and begin with Club Vista Park. Our Public Works team did seasonal pruning. They also did irrigation repairs and did annual backflow testing. At Daly Ranch Park, they did storm drain maintenance, did some clearing in preparation for the rainy season, also did annual backflow testing. Libby Park, there were 2 dead eucalyptus trees that were removed, a 120-foot tree right behind the gazebo and a 130-foot tree near Bolstrom's Bridge behind the Arcade Center. An event that was noted for Libby Park, of course, was Ojai Day. There's also irrigation repairs performed throughout the park, as well as repairs made to the fountain. And for the skate park, it looks like they were continuing with the tile floor replacement. There's also graffiti in the restroom, which was removed, and again, did annual backflow testing. For Rotary Park, repairs were made to the exterior walkway lamppost. They also did lawn maintenance and gopher abatement, as well as annual backflow testing at that park as well. Over at Zero Zodi Park, we had the fields aerated. We had a pole light replaced over by the ball fields. Did irrigation inspections throughout the entire fields, and had graffiti removed from the lower restroom. And to conclude it, they did annual backflow testing at the park as well. And with that, that concludes the Public Works report.
Great. Any questions? Comments? Okay, we will move on to our consent item. The minutes from the October 6, 2022 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review? They're in your packet? Oh, thank you. Any questions?
I have a couple
edits,
of
comments?
corrections.
Okay.
They're just, I think, typos, but
Okay.
the first one I have is on the first page. The second item, the Pledge of Allegiance, I think Commissioner Ender might have been the youth commissioner at some point, but
Oh, okay, I'll make you.
that's true now.
Okay, thank you.
And then on page 3, just above the item C there, Chair Taylor requested that there be, requested for there to be a monthly update for the commission. I think this is around the sports court.
Okay.
So a monthly update, I think.
Wait,
Instead
let
of a
me
month
catch up with you.
update.
Oh, monthly, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
catch that.
And that's
Okay.
what I found.
Okay.
Perfect. Those were received. And any others?
So I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, sorry, I was catching up on page 3. Okay,
Okay,
Luis, can
roll
you call
call?
the roll?
Of
Mhm.
course. Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Edner,
Yes.
Chair Taylor,
Yes,
Commissioner Firestone.
Yes.
Motion passes.
okay. Presentations, actions, and discussion items. The first one we have is subject is 2023 Libby Bowl fee waiver. Recommendation is that the commission consider the application received for the 2023 Libby Bowl fee waiver program and provide a recommendation to council for consideration and approval. So I think you all had those in your packet. I asked Luis to give us a refresher on prior years and the guidelines that we use for the approval process, so let me grab those. Does everybody have a copy of this, or is it just me?
Yeah, everybody has
Oh,
copies.
okay. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to review the program guidelines? Or do we want to go over them?
I don't think it would hurt to just review the guideline.
Okay. The Libby Bowl fee waiver program, well, I don't know if I need to read all 4 pages. Oh, see, well, I guess it's not that much. The Libby Bowl fee waiver program waives in full or in part the fees charged by the city of Ojai for use of the Libby Bowl. The primary purpose of the fee waiver program is to assist individuals, commercial entities, and nonprofit organizations that are producing art, cultural, and community events in the Libby Bowl for the benefit of nonprofit organizations and/or the Ojai community. The goal of the event held in the Libby Bowl, receiving a fee waiver, could include encouraging artistic excellence, developing new audiences, promoting diversity in Ojai's cultural life, promoting and encouraging arts and cultural activities in the city of Ojai, and encouraging community engagement. Support will be considered for events that demonstrate a clear benefit to the Ojai community. The purpose of the fee waiver program is not to subsidize ongoing expenses. Please note, events will be held within the calendar year 2023. All publicity, I don't really think that that's applicable to what we're doing tonight. Let's see. Reviewing the criteria for individual artists, I don't think I think the first part is what's applicable to the commission as far as to our work here tonight. So I don't want to take up the public's time reading the rest of that unless someone has a specific question. Okay. So with those objectives in mind, we were presented with 9 requests. We'll just start with the first one and work our way through. We can go through all of them, and then we can ask questions. Kind of, it'll be a little bit of an interactive process, is sort of how I think it worked best last year. And I do have last year's waiver applicants and recipients.
Can I just
if we
ask
have a question.
a general question? There was so we have the in the administrative report, we have a list of the current user fees for Libby Bowl, but then there was a reference on the next page, a copy of the 2023 Libby Bowl fee waiver and Libby Bowl fee waiver. Oh, okay, I misread that, I'm sorry. So are they, the current user fees are the same, will be the same for next year?
That
Okay,
is correct,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I misread that.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear about that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the first one we have is from the Ojai Film Festival. They are a nonprofit organization. The type of event is free screening of a movie. And they are specifically asking for $700 plus the security deposit in their waiver. Now, I know we spent a lot of time on these last year. I just want to see here from last year, Ojai Film.
The film, the film festival was one of the ones from that.
And Chair, if I,
7-7?
if I
Yes.
may, the $700, what that entails is $600 user fee plus $100 application fee.
Oh,
So that combined would equal $700 that a traditional nonprofit would go ahead and pay for usage of the bowl.
the security deposit is separate, is that what you're saying?
That is correct, yes.
And what is the security deposit
For
here?
nonprofit, $600.
Oh, so in addition, 700 plus an additional 600, okay.
But the security deposit is refundable.
That is refundable, yeah. So that's why we separated it out, because that portion goes back to the applicant. Essentially, what we do is we do a walkthrough with each applicant before, go through the Libby Bowl, show the facility, talk about cleanliness, and then after the event, we'll do the same process, go through, make sure everything has been picked up. And if such is the case, there's no damage, then that's where the deposit goes back to them.
But they still need to pay it. Is that correct?
Upfront,
Okay.
traditionally upfront, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they're asking for 700 plus a security deposit, just as an example, last year they paid, the 700 was waived, they still had to pay the 600.
Yeah, so it's,
If everything was right, they were refunded that.
correct, yeah.
amount.
So
Okay.
essentially, if we just want to talk just one solid number as a whole, we could look at that as 1,300, 700 plus a $600 security deposit.
Is,
I don't think we've traditionally
No.
waived the security deposit for any group,
Correct.
nonprofit or
Correct.
not,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Even the events that are free, like the reading in the park or something, right? They still
Correct,
pay
yeah.
s-
Traditionally, it's just been usage of the fee. Now, I can't say to prior years whether, just because I didn't administer the program, whether that security deposit was collected. One of the things I will go ahead and say is that a lot of the organizations that have applied are traditional organizations that come back on a recurring basis. We haven't had any issues as far as any damage or cleanliness issues.
I don't necessarily know that the security deposit is considered a fee. I think that it's considered a deposit, and it's held in liability based on returning the area to the same, right? So
Right.
I'm not sure if this commission is even, has purview over that security deposit, to be honest. I don't remember discussing those in the past.
I remember it confusing us in the past, because
Yeah.
some people would write in that they wanted $1,300,
Yeah,
and that was because they were looking to
yeah.
have.
And it's
The event completely free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's absolutely up to the commission, you know, whether that's something that you'd want to go ahead and consider and include in the recommendation to council, but if it's something that you do not wish to consider, then
Can
I
I
think
ask
that
this, as it's written now, it says plus refundable security fee, a security deposit. Is that a recommendation from staff to do that, or that's
No, that's
just
the
trying to
entity's
show total
request.
cost?
that is what was received from the applicants.
so
Okay, got it.
was that something that was offered in the application?
So
Like,
it was
because-
not, it was not, but all the fees were noted, user fees as well as security deposit for both for commercial and nonprofit.
Because I noticed that everyone
Mhm.
Yeah. it was-
requested it,
Mhm.
so it's,
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I'm
not-
saying, is
I'm
that
not
new?
sure that that's exactly right. I mean, I'm looking at the first one here, and they requested, they wanted a waiver for $700, $600 use fee plus application fee of $100. and they don't mention anything about the security.
Right, and that's something that, from staff, we clarified what is exactly that you're looking to go ahead and get, because as you see, in some of the applications, they'll go ahead and say all fees, or all fees, if all fees can't be waived, then a certain amount is to be waived.
But that, I don't know, that seems like changing the rules after the applications are in, just because some asked for it and some didn't.
Sure, and again, it's, if the commission wishes not to consider that part, or consider that part, it's definitely up to the commission on its recommendation to council.
I'm curious whether we've done it before.
I don't remember. I just think of it, the word deposit to me is a deposit. It's
Yeah.
not a fee, and the program is intended to waive fees related to user fees. And so I think two things, possibly as a commission, we can go back and amend this application for next year so that we don't have this same struggle, and have it clearly say on that page, page 2, security deposit, if that's what the council wishes for us to consider. But I think based on the program, it doesn't really talk about deposits, it talks about fees. And that to me is not a fee, it's a deposit.
Okay.
And I know you can't speak to what we've historically done, but it would be interesting to see if we could find out if we have been assessing those or not, because that's on that's on a staff level basis. How have we been implementing the program at that level? Just to see, because if we have not been assessing those of people that we gave fee waivers to, and it hasn't been a problem, I'm open to the discussion, but we haven't ever, I'm not clear that we've ever given any waivers for the.
I don't think,
Sure.
and based on,
Well, I
based
can,
on the amounts received on here,
Sure, from-
and compared to what we are being asked, like just of this particular one, it's the same,
yeah. So I could speak to last year, because it was my first year administering the program. So last year, no, I wasn't done.
And it doesn't look like it was done for 2020 either, just based on the 700 and 700 be requested and awarded. So let's move forward with just fees, and then if the council wishes to address the security deposit, then
Sure.
that'll be the recommendation
The-
from our commission.
So Louise, last year, those security deposits were collected from everyone?
Yeah,
And were there,
from my recollection, yes.
was there any feedback from any of the participants that?
I can go ahead and say that this year, there was one applicant that indicated, hey, is this going to be, part of it? And I indicated, yes, traditionally, these are the fees that are collected, and that's when the request came. We would like that waived as well.
The one applicant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know which applicant that was?
Yeah, so that was the Independence Day Committee.
Okay. So they specifically requested it?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Ojai Film Festival has requested the $700, which Luis explained earlier is the $600 plus the $100 application fee. Based on our guidelines that we went over earlier, seems that fits within our guidelines. Do we want to do a discussion on each item, or do we want to move through them and
One by one?
one by one?
I think that's easy.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that, and just,
I'm comfortable with that
Yep.
too.
I
Do
think,
you want to take just a discussion count of, are we comfortable moving on to number 2 as a commission, or is there more discussion needed? I can say I'm comfortable with the document presented and the historical. I know that we vetted many of these repeat entities in the past, so for those of you who weren't here, this was quite a topic in the past about how each of the entities fit within the program. So historically speaking, the Ojai Film Festival does meet those guidelines.
I agree.
Okay, any other discussion on number 1? Okay, Okay, Ojai Film Society. I don't know that they were here.
They
They were.
I don't see it in
No,
2022.
they went in 2022.
2022? No, I don't think so.
It's a,
Maybe
So-
in 2020?
No.
So is that a new request, or were they going under different names?
No, that actually, if, I'm verifying as we speak, but that one was there last year, if memory serves me right. I know that the particular event was held last year. I'm double checking as we speak, but I'm pretty sure that they received a fee waiver as well. And I believe we actually have the applicant, Kathleen. She has raised her hand. If the commission wishes, I could go ahead and bring her in to speak.
Great, yes, please.
Okay.
well, I had a question about this, and it's fine to bring her in, but, I mean, this organization wasn't on the fee waivers that we saw last year, but they created the film the series this summer. So my question was, did they get a waiver? Because I saw they, thanked the city of Ojai. So did they get a waiver outside of this annual program?
This particular one, I'm remembering as we speak, and I'll go ahead and bring Kathleen in here to go ahead and speak as well. And Kathleen, can you confirm you can hear us, please?
Oops, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. And Kathleen, you're with the Ojai Film Society, correct?
Yes, I am Kathleen Schaefer. I'm the president of the Film Society.
And Kathleen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but last year we worked with a city. It was not through the fee waiver program, but I do recall that the event was held for the community. Is that correct?
Correct. It
Okay.
was, we did not go through this process last year. We developed this with Robin Godfrey and Weston Montgomery and you, and it kind of evolved right before we launched this summer.
Yeah, that is correct. I remember you and I had initially made conversation. We had made that contact to explore the idea of doing it, and then that's when Robin came on board as the events coordinator, and she took over from there. So I do recall that we held it last year. I just couldn't quite recall if it came under the fee waiver program. But thank you for that clarity.
Yeah, and so we did receive a complete fee waiver for all of our screenings, the 5 screenings that we did this past summer through mid-October.
Okay.
I just am realizing the order in which, okay, thank you. I was getting confused because we have on our printout here, this says that Music for Kids is one, Film Society, Film Festival, and then Film Society, but it's in a different order here, so it was kind of throwing me off just for anybody else who's trying to follow along. So thank you, Kathleen, for joining us and clarifying that. So to recall, the $3,700 is what you're asking for?
Yeah, essentially we, and again, this has been in conversation with Weston, would do the 4 + 2. So we would do 6 screenings next summer from the end of July through mid-October, early October. And so we're asking for essentially the same thing this year, would just be 1 additional screening.
And usage of the six times would equate to the 3,700.
And it has 2,800 on the application. Am I this is the,
Yeah,
am I right?
you're right. It's
Okay.
2,800 on the application, but on your summary, it's 3,700. So what's the correct figure?
So the correct figure would be and Kathleen, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, it would be the 3,700 because it would be for 6 nights of use. It's 6 times 600 would be $3,600 plus the $100 application fee, so $3,700.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a little bit of difference, I think, we hadn't seen this fee schedule before and the ones that, what we had talked about with Robin, but So Luis has been helpful, and I apologize if there has been some miscommunication, but essentially we had access to the bowl for free. And that's what we're asking for again.
I think it's a great event. I think it meets all of our criteria.
Mhm.
And the tickets are
Free.
free
free.
to the public, okay?
Yes.
Any other questions on this particular application? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna mark these off here on this. Okay, and our next one, number 3, is in our book, is the Independent Day Committee. And also free, and they're asking for the $700,
And they actually did specifically ask for the refundable
Mm-hmm.
deposit, but
which is $600,
Correct.
okay? And they are just to clarify for the listening public, they are the only organization that specifically asked for the nonprofit on the application.
yes.
Yes.
Or the security deposit.
The other one, that I remember as speaking with Chair Quillisi from, Steve Quillisi, excuse me, would be the veterans. He too on the application, on the original application, indicated that it would be a security deposit as well. So those are the two that had come in.
I'm just not inclined as a commission to make a recommendation where we don't have clear guidance on, so.
That's fine. I just want to note that
Yeah,
they
I think that we
requested it.
can certainly include it in the staff report, but I think for our commission recommendation, we should stick with the fees. That's
Sure.
my.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Again, the prior years, I don't think that they did it last year, but I thought that they had done it before, right?
They did it last year.
Independence
Yep.
Day did it last year, 700.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
done it traditionally every year with the exception of 2021.
Okay.
I just marked them, I looked at 2022, and I marked the ones that were the same, so.
I
that's-
think,
Okay.
I think an absolute yes on this.
Yeah,
Nothing
I think that's
Yeah.
great too.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on quickly here. All right, we've got our next one is the Ojai International City of Peace. That is requesting, according to my cheat sheet, 1,600. Let me just double check the application here. We have 700 on here.
Yeah, the
Is
difference.
I sincerely apologize for these typos. For the Ojai International piece, it's going to be a one-day event, so it would be the $700.
Okay. They
Yeah.
just, the one in the application had it incorrectly calculated.
Okay.
It looks like to me.
Yeah.
Now, under the front page, the ones that are not nonprofits doing the free or extremely low, they have other. So let me just ask, what is the ticket?
So it would be a free community event.
Actually, I think
Oh.
the other may refer to the fact that they're not a
Not a nonprofit.
incorporated
Yeah, nonprofit. And,
But it is a free event.
yeah, and and I apologize, again, sincerely apologize. I realize that there's a lot of typos in this one here. Because they are not a nonprofit, it would be that commercial fee.
Got it.
So it would be the $1,500
Okay.
plus the 100, so it would be a total of $1,300.
So it was right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because of the not.
yeah, because of the
Because of their
nonprofit
status.
aspect, yes.
Oh,
And, for-
Not a nonprofit.
yeah, and I think that,
Is it done by a group or an individual?
it's done by a group. It's a
It
group,
is a
yeah,
group,
but
it's
an
just not a
individual,
nonprofit.
yeah.
Okay, all
Yep.
Okay.
And they, if memory serves me right, they are the only nonprofit, or not nonprofit.
They're the only
Non-nonprofit.
for-profit.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it is a free event.
But it is a free event.
Free event. Okay,
And they,
wonderful. And community benefited. Okay, any questions on that one? Okay. We have the Music for Kids, which is actually number 1 on our cheat sheet, but number 5 in our book. Just to follow the bouncing ball here. And we have, this event was really great for the kids when my kids were little. Let's see, they are asking for, I like their calculations on here, that's easy, 100%. We're left. So I see that Luis did the math for us, so thank you. So they are a free event or low-cost event.
Yeah, free community concerts, it would be a total of 6.
I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the total waiver request of 37, which is the same as last year that we also awarded, okay? Any questions on that one? Okay. All right, next we have the Rotary Club of Ojai West, which is number 6 in here, which is going to be
This is still,
9
and this is
on
at the
the list.
gazebo.
It's at the gazebo, not
They
the
moved to the
bowl.
bowl.
Correct.
The ones, this
This
is,
is
they're
the-
not going to be there anymore, but that's where they started, so this is the same.
The band concerts.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
But it will be in the bowl.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what they're
Sorry, that
requesting.
was confusing.
because it's
Say that.
grown, I understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
They cite wanting more space.
Okay. Free,
Yep.
completely free. And they are asking for
Oh,
all of it. That's an easy way as well. And we have their information here. So that's 3,100.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct for that?
Correct.
I know there's 2 Rotary clubs.
5
on here.
total.
Yeah, 5 total.
Okay, any questions on that? It's not free? No,
Oh,
not
no,
that
that's-
one.
not
Different
that.
event.
No,
That's the
this
next
is
one.
This is the band in the park
the concerts in the park that they have during the
during the summer.
summer
on
when it's,
Wednesdays.
Yep,
Yeah,
on
the
Wednesdays.
Wednesday concerts. They were at the gazebo for years and years,
Mhm.
and now they're transitioning into the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
but free to the public.
Yes.
Correct.
okay,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, and that's number 9 on that sheet. Okay, then moving on, the next one is also a Rotary Club of Ojai, which is different than the Rotary Club of Ojai West. I think one meets in the morning and one
One's
meets in the
morning
afternoon, right? Okay. Okay, so this one on our book, number 7, and on our list here, it'll be number 8. And this is also a nonprofit. They are requesting $700. So the usage fee plus 100. And Mr. Miley is correct. This is a paid event, ticketed event, which is definitely not low cost according to our guidelines, $5 or less. I believe it was $90 a ticket.
That is correct. That was a noted base price. And I do have a representative from the organization, Sean McDermott. If there are any questions, I'm happy to bring him in.
This is new to us, too. This hasn't
Yeah,
been
this
held
is a
here.
new-
This is correct.
This is not something that's been
Correct.
to the bowl before.
Yeah, it's not a traditional event. I will go ahead and note it was held last year for reduced costs, simply because they used the lawn area. The actual bowl itself wasn't utilized. It was a lawn, but that did take place last year.
And I'll say it, as per our guidelines, this is specifically one of the types of events that's listed is a nonprofit fundraiser. I know all the other events are free community events, and that's one of the things listed in the guidelines, but there's another one that's nonprofit fundraisers.
Let's go over them again, because it did certainly catch my eye that there was a $90 ticket attached to it, so there's certainly a large profit scale for them. But let's just review here, be some critical readers on our guidelines. So we have,
It is within our guidelines.
For the benefit of nonprofit organizations and/or the Ojai community, yeah, up in the first paragraph.
Is the intention to have it on the lawn again, or?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
I do believe, and I can bring Mr. McDermott in to confirm, but I do believe that they would like access to the bowl to utilize part of its facilities, such as a restroom, but not actually have performances there. But again, we can verify with them if the commission wishes.
I think that based on the application and I think the general knowledge of how the Rotary clubs in the Valley work, as far as putting back into the community, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's certainly a significant amount of the fundraising to support all kinds of youth and community. I do think, I don't know that we necessarily need to speak to the representative, because I think it meets our guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
I note that the ticket price is $90, and those participating in making that donation to the club, I think with the intent of it going back in is a well-established practice. So I would.
Can I just ask a question?
Of course.
Since this is a ticketed event, and I think last year we had storytelling as a ticketed event. So even though this is a benefit, but it is a ticketed event, does the facility fee apply? $3 per ticket?
Yes, I will go ahead and I will confirm with Robin, who's managing the bowl. My inclination is to go ahead and say yes, since it is a ticketed event, but I will go ahead and double check with her.
It doesn't,
Essentially,
the fee waiver, is my understanding, it doesn't change any of the other fees that are associated with the event, such as the storytelling. They still had to pay their other fees. It's just the application and the use fee that
Okay.
we're waiving, right?
Okay.
Everything
That is
else is
correct. Yep.
contractually the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Okay, good, okay.
So just that $700.
So good, yeah, I was just mostly asking.
And I would agree with Commissioner Firestone that it does meet our guidelines.
Yeah, and they state in their application, all profit goes to local scholarships and community grants.
I think it's great.
Okay. Any other discussion on that item? Okay. Okay, moving on to the Ojai Valley Veterans of Foreign War, Post 11461, the Ojai Memorial Day Committee. That is our number 6 and number 8 in our book.
And that's a long.
And next year, Luis, you're gonna have to really coordinate those for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely will.
Okay. They are asking for I have $1,300 on my copy.
And that includes the security deposit.
Okay, so we're gonna back that out to 700, is that correct? Amended, okay? Okay, any questions on that? That's a historical event as well, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, and then our last one, we have the Ojai Valley Youth Foundation. And they are asking for $700, same.
Yeah.
And it meets our criteria based on the application that was presented. Any discussion on that?
I think Ella's involved
Application.
in that one.
Yes, okay. Okay. Okay, so if I am understanding correctly, we have we'll just go in order on this sheet here. Music for Kids, Ojai Pops Orchestra, that's 3,700 requested.
Correct.
And shall we do each one and then vote at the end, or do you want to vote on each one? Seems like we have a pretty unanimous. How about if I run these off and then we can certainly go through it again? We have 700 for the Film Society requested to be awarded, 3,700 for the Ojai Film Festival, 700, Ojai Film Society, 3,700. Ojai Independence Committee asking for 1,600 for the Ojai International City of Peace, 700 for the Ojai Valley Veterans of Foreign War, Ojai Valley Youth Foundation, asking for 700. Rotary Club of Ojai Educational Foundation, asking for 700. And the Rotary Club of Ojai West, asking for 3,100. For a total of, is that 15,600? I think that's, I didn't check the math. Did anybody else check the math on that?
No,
Yeah, and I can,
Yes, I can.
but I'm,
yeah. I was gonna say I can total it up. I think the only deviation of that 15,000 figure would be the Ojai International, the Ojai Peace event. That since initially it was marked on here as, I think on the,
No, on
It's
here,
marked
it's-
as
yeah,
16.
yeah,
That's
then
correct.
yes, then that figure would be correct.
So it should be correct, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and make awards to all of the applications received, all 9 of them, for the 2023 Libby Bowl fee waivers.
lost my phone.
Does that work?
I'll second that motion.
So that,
15,600. And the only caveat I would add to that is that just a note for staff to include the request for the security deposits, because I think that's outside the purview of
Sure.
this commission.
sure.
You're suggesting that's referred to the city council to decide if they want to.
In a staff report,
Waive those, yeah.
not from the commission.
Waive for the specific ones that requested or for all?
For this 2 that requested,
Okay.
because the other ones haven't requested it.
Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and do roll call. Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Firestone,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we have a presentation, action item discussion, pickleball ad hoc committee structure, and pickleball ad hoc committee recommendation to select an acoustical engineering firm. A is recommendation that the commission discuss and determine whether to reorganize the pickleball ad hoc committee. And B will be recommendation that the commission consider the recommendation from the Pickleball Ad Hoc Committee to select the proposal submitted by Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC to perform sound engineering related to pickleball in Ojai. Thank you. And so I'll open up the commission for discussion on BA, item 6BA, and I believe that Chair Wilson has some things to share with the with the commission.
yes, I'm just the commissioner though, not the chair.
Sorry.
Yes, as of the last month of October, I resigned as a member of the board of directors and as a treasurer of Ojai Valley Pickleball, Inc. Although I'd been advised by the city attorney that there was no legal conflict of interest, I aspire to hold myself to a higher standard, higher ethical standard, and so to remove any possible perception of a conflict of interest, to remove any question of my commitment to representing all the residents of the Ojai Valley on this commission, I did resign that position, officially severed my formal relationship with that organization. And I want to apologize to my fellow commissioners that this inadvertently impeded the work of the commission. It was quite unintentional and really based on my ignorance. So that's my announcement, and hopefully we go forward from here.
Thank you. I think as chair, I just will speak for myself, and then as the commission as a whole and how we conduct our business. We've been really striving for our work is all done in the in the public's eye for transparency. Ad hoc committees are certainly helpful, but it does take away from our ability to be completely transparent, and we rely on those ad hoc committees to bring the full recommendation so that we can discuss it as a commission. I think this particular topic has been certainly well discussed, and I know I don't play pickleball, so I try and be really objective to both sides. Again, I wasn't aware of any of our commissions association, but that being said, if it were another subject, whether it was basketball or soccer, we wouldn't expect our commissioners not to recreate, right? We actually encourage our commissioners to recreate so that we know what is going on in our community. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that you are participating. I do think that the public, legal or not, would have appreciated knowing, excuse me, the connection. So thank you for disclosing that. Any other comments?
I'll just say that, thank you for disclosing it. I think it does seem like it was an oversight. I didn't kind of understand that either, and I didn't realize Karen's official involvement in the club, but I knew she was a pickleball enthusiast. That's been an asset to our commission, to have somebody who understands pickleball to help as we navigate everything, in addition to Karen's other resourcefulness. So,
Thank you, appreciate that.
I think as the topic moves forward, I think that just the way that it came about, we may need to discuss as a commission if we need to even have the ad hoc at this point, or if the rest of this work for the pickleball play needs to be conducted at our monthly meetings. I know that the objective for the ad hoc was to, on an accelerated basis, gather the information for the engineer, which it's our next agenda item to discuss. So perhaps we need to have discussions on that at a later date. I'm not sure that the ad hoc will be needed anymore at this point. Maybe that is
If I could just, and Ryan, if you disagree, but we are, first of all, we, as an ad hoc committee, we really were tasked with doing some investigations and sort of the legwork that the city council asked for. And we've been giving reports, and any decisions, any recommendations have to come back to the whole commission. I mean, the ad hoc committee has no authority to make independent recommendations. And so that's, why we have the next agenda item up here. We feel like we made the best decision, but this is our recommendation, and it can't go forward without the commission's approval. And we have been aiming toward pulling together a fairly comprehensive report of all of our activities, of the history of this subject, and answer the questions that the city council charged us with. That would come to the whole commission before it would go anywhere else for any kind of questions, vetting, additions, deletions, whatever. And we're moving into that stage with this, the sound engineering process going forward. That is, as we've said before, we couldn't really go and make any other recommendations without this work. So as this is going to go forward on whatever schedule, we will be pulling together a draft final report that will come to the commission. And I don't foresee, I can see a couple maybe ad hoc committee meetings possibly happening, but I see the bulk of our work, bulk of our discussions have happened, and now we're in the process of pulling it together. So it will all come to the commission. And I just want to, put that out there and as you consider whether you want to restructure or take the, have the whole commission sit as the ad hoc committee.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think from my perspective, council asked us to do this work on an accelerated basis, and I think the part that we did on an accelerated basis is what we were needed for, which was to conclude pretty quickly that these are technical questions that we need, technical experts to kind of research and weigh in on. And so what's taken a long time is getting to the point where we can select that technical expert. And hopefully that's what we're doing in a few minutes tonight. So I think the bulk of our work is done. I do see kind of a few areas where it would still be useful to have a committee. One is like Karen mentioned, writing up our findings from when we were scoping things out. And maybe that includes processing what the consultants provide to us. And then the other thing is, as the consultant work is going on, if there's anything that they need from us, I could foresee there might be something where they need a few people to kind of meet with them when they're on site doing testing, if that's what we select for them to do. So it'd be convenient to have the committee for that. Otherwise, it's a bigger process to get three of us together outside of a meeting like this.
And to Commissioner Firestone's point, that was something that was requested if selected, if this acoustical engineer was selected, that there be a representative from the city or ad hoc committee to assist with the work.
Commissioner Intner?
I'm comfortable either way. I think that the work is coming to the end. You guys have put a lot of hours in and a lot of time. There was information in that, the information from the recommended consultant, that would be something that they would be looking for. I feel okay with having the ad hoc committee be those people that they could reach to. I also feel like at where we're at too, we could also bring it back to the whole group and be fine. I think either is a fine option. I don't, either way will work. I think we would be fine. It's because really what we're hearing is that the ad hoc committee's time is coming to an end either way.
Mm-hmm.
You were tasked with, helping set up to get the consultant doing the research, where if, depending on where we come out with that, that's done. And then really the next step for you is just to be available to help on the ground with that. And then once that comes back, I hope that will come back, that'll come back directly to the commission.
Yes.
What that work product will come to the commission, the whole commission, not the ad hoc committee. And I think, for me, I'm okay, that's what I think would be the compromise for me, is how about we keep the ad hoc committee together to help serve, to get done the report.
Mm-hmm.
We bring the report back to the whole commission, and then we decide where we go from there. Because I think what comes out of that will drive the direction and what the work, what work we're looking to get done, and we can reassess at that point. That seems to me to be serve all the purposes we're looking to serve, and that's where I think I'd be most comfortable.
Okay. We do have a public comment. Mr. Miley, would you like to give your input at this time?
Good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Miley. Item 6B, I have these several points to make. On reformulation of the ad hoc committee, as I commented last month, membership in an organization's board of directors could bring bias if if the organization is a stakeholder in the process. However, the need for transparency is the only issue here because there's no, obviously, need for recusal. I do not expect that there be a reorganization of the ad hoc committee. All that is needed is a statement by the commission member involved, which has already occurred, that they're currently a board member, or in this case, not a board member. That the city's transparency value statement is certainly being met. Ms. Wilson's action to be clear and transparent is very commendable. Before the meeting, Ms. Wilson and I chatted about this, and we certainly agreed on the resolution. I definitely support the recommendation of the ad hoc committee that Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC be the engineering firm that is approved to do the sound study. And lastly, I would like to suggest that the commission look at a new Facebook page by Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC, authored by Robert Unitek, who is an acoustical engineer and a principal of the firm being selected by your commission. He provides a good forum for issues involved with sound, noise generation by pickleball, and I did a screen copy of one of his entries that you might want to look at. He is, as some of you know, an official pickleball referee, an ambassador, and a nationally known recognized expert on sound. And as I mentioned, the screenshot gives you an idea of what he's saying. There are multiple pages or entries on the pickleball page which are very important to look at. Thank you.
Bill, what was the Facebook group again? I didn't catch it all.
You can find it by going to Facebook and then typing in Pickleball Sound Mitigation. I did give you a Facebook reference there, number in, I'm sorry. I sent my email to you late today, so it didn't get to you. So you won't be able to see it until tomorrow.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. And I have you down for item 6B, A and B, because there's actually a subsection A and B. I know it's a little out of normal. Did you want to speak again on B?
I would like to speak on D when that comes up.
Okay,
yes.
great. I'll hold it over.
I'll point out, Mr. Miley, that Commissioner Wilson and I are both very familiar with that Facebook webpage.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now I have a couple of other speaker cards. Again, I know the agenda's a little, normally we don't have two subsections underneath the presentation, but today we do have 6BA and 6BB. So Ms. Quimby, Skippy, and Bob McFall. Bob McFall's BB. Skippy, is that 6BB or 6B? A or B?
6BB.
BB?
B.
Okay. And Ms. Quimby?
Am I up?
Well, if you're speaking on 6BB, not yet.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll be in timeout.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Yes, that's what I said, it's 6BA and 6BB, double B.
Okay.
You're probably, I'm guessing, thinking the second one, correct? Okay, all right, I'll hold your comment over. Sorry for the confusion. Okay, so do I have a motion from a commissioner to determine whether or not to reorganize the pickleball ad hoc committee at this time?
Seems like we'd only need a motion if we want to change something.
Otherwise, we.
Yeah, I was going to say, a motion's not
Okay.
needed if want to
Okay.
proceed as is.
Do I have a motion to change the reorganization? No, so we'll move on for just clarifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so we have 6B, item B, recommendation that the commission consider the recommendation from the Pickleball Ad Hoc Committee to select the proposal submitted by Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC to perform sound engineering related to pickleball in Ojai. And I do have a number of speakers. I think it's always beneficial to hear the commission, the ad hoc report, and then perhaps it may address some of the concerns from the public, and then we can discuss after the public comments. So, Firestone, or who's presenting?
Want to go ahead?
I'm happy to,
Or-
if you'd like. Up to you.
Yeah, maybe we can all put in a few words, but this was from our September meeting, I believe, which, sorry, I wasn't here for. But we went through this process of developing an RFP and reaching out to firms in the area and other firms that were recommended to us from outside of the area. And we got several proposals. We are recommending the pickleball sound mitigation firm because they have the most expertise. They have pretty much all of the expertise in these types of issues, specifically looking at pickleball. That's what their firm does, is look at pickleball sound issues. And so based on that, we kind of thought that was our top choice. I was initially skeptical because they're not local, and they had proposed to do the work entirely off-site. Although they kind of comforted my concerns about doing the work off-site, it sounds like there is an interest more generally on having them do the work on site, and so there was some back and forth that Luis did with them to get an estimate for the work, including the travel cost to come out here and do that, and so that's what we have here that we are recommending.
And I think that one of the important things to go ahead and know is the sites where the assessments would be conducted. I know at the September meeting, there was discussion on where those sites could potentially be. After that meeting, the ad hoc committee and staff met at City Hall campus and determined ultimately the second location at City Hall campus just wouldn't be viable because of limited space. So it was determined that the three locations where the sound assessments would be done would be at the current pickleball courts, Lower Libby, and Soul Park. And as Commissioner Firestone stated, we did reach out to inquire about the cost for the deliverables in the proposal, as well as doing on-site assessments and being available to present their findings via Zoom. It is important to note that the organization is wanting to provide the best rate possible to the city, and it was noted because of changes in prices for a hotel, airline, and car rentals, it would be $11,900 plus travel expenses is essentially what we're looking at. Now, it is also important to go ahead and know if we are able to go ahead and conduct a testing here. Correct me if I'm wrong, commissioners, but on by the 14th or 15th, there would be some potential savings to the city, as the organization is actually going to be out in California. They're going to be out in Indian Wells, and from Indian Wells, they're going to another city to do some consultation work there as well, if memory serves me right. So while we don't have a definitive figure that we can present to you and say this is going to be the definitive number, we can go ahead and note that it was noted for all the work to be conducted, it would be, it could potentially be $11,900 plus travel expenses. And one of the things that the commission could consider is authorizing up to a certain amount. $10,000 has been allocated in the city's budget for this type of testing, and we did consult with the city manager, who had initially authorized the 11.9, but if the commission again wants to go ahead and designate up to a certain dollar amount, we can go back and get that. We can consult with the city manager to assure that that would be appropriate to go ahead and do.
So,
So,
I just had a quick question about the numbers.
Yeah.
In attachment A, the number was 10,850, and in here it's 11,900.
Yeah, and that,
But that doesn't include travel.
that additional work, the 10,900, again, commissioners, please correct me if I'm wrong, did not include the on-site assessment. This 11.9 includes the on-site assessment and being available for the Zoom meetings
Got it,
so they can
okay.
go ahead and present their findings.
That covers the additional
hours.
labor,
Yes,
right,
okay.
hours.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
that's
Not
based on the request that
But not the travel.
made by the commissioners, yes. So,
Okay, thank
and
you.
just to chime in here a little bit. So, because they will be in Southern California, you know, where the city potentially saves on the travel costs because we won't be paying for their coming to California. But if we, and Louise is right, I think the dates actually are like the 14th, 15th. And so if we can get this approved and forwarded, we can schedule that. Otherwise, and then that would be, make it likely that we would get the report back in December.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we might not be able to schedule the on-site until sometime in January or later.
Mhm.
And then we would have to pick up, if we approve this, the tab for travel
expenses.
from either Florida or Pennsylvania. That's where they live. So, you know, they're trying to, they worked with us to try to give us a break on the costs. So, so I'm hopeful that we can go ahead and get this done, because they are, you know, it just sort of coincidentally, because of the big national tournament down in Indian Wells, they're going to be here. And so it'd be like 2 nights in Ojai, I think. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it should work out if we can do that.
Okay, we have a couple of speakers, I think would probably be a good time to do that. Okay, so, let's see, Skippy is on, next for item 6BB. Actually, Mr. Miley, sorry, Bill.
Hello.
Hi.
I would like to personally invite you to come out and play pickleball
Okay, thank
and
you.
try it. Hi, my name is Denise, but only my mom calls me Denise. On the courts, I'm known as Skippy. After I retired from teaching physical education for 35 years, I realized I miss socializing and laughing with my students. So I started playing pickleball. 2 years ago, I now socialize and laugh every day on the courts. Pickleball is a great exercise, very social, which has been great in my retirement. I am now meeting many of my Ojai neighbors, young and old, making new friends. I just met a lady from New York today. The pickleball program is one that I urge the city to embrace and facilitate its growth within the city, as it is so enjoyed and beneficial to our large number of our community and people visiting our city. Pickleball has changed my life. I no longer feel depressed, and I have a reason to get up every morning. Thank you. Come play.
Thank you. And Mr. Miley. Sorry. Well, I had you down for A and B, so are you good on, again, the agenda is a little bit different because we have 2 subsections of item B.
I just want to speak on Soul Park.
Okay, all right, done. All right, and so then I have Bob McFall. Sorry about the confusion on those letters.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Just wanted to thank the ad hoc committee for, I think, what was a fine job, very professional recommendation that was made, and I simply wanted to voice my support for their recommendation. This seems like a very solid way to how to be moving forward to the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our last speaker on 6BB, Ms. Karen Quimby.
Hello, Commissioners. Karen Quimby. I'm with the Citizens for Sound Pickleball Policy, and also now a very excited member of the Soul Park Pickleball Project, which is a group that was started by pickleball players and tennis players and invited us to come and be part of it. It's leaders in the pickleball community and the Ojai tennis community, as well as concerned neighbors, to raise money for, design, and build world-class pickleball courts at Soul Park. We've invited Luis Gomez and Chair Taylor to our next meeting because we want the Parks and Rec Commission to be involved at the very outset of this exciting project. So this is just so exciting because it's a win-win-win solution, and we are happy to be part of it. It's good for the pickleball community, it's great for tennis players, and it's also great for neighbors. And I'm here tonight to urge the Commission to move forward to select the proposal submitted by the Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC. Looks like a great proposal. They look like an expert firm. We're excited about it. And to schedule the sound testing at the earliest possible opportunity, and it sounds like November 14th and 15th would be great. We also want to I want to renew our request to have a member of each interested party at the actual testing, during those days of testing, to have someone from the Citizens for Sound Pickleball Policy, someone from the tennis community, and someone from the pickleball community there, so that the process is fair and transparent, and there can't be any questions afterwards and any concerns that something wasn't done fairly and transparently. So I hope you'll discuss this in your discussion tonight on this and agree to that. And we're very grateful for the methodical work of the ad hoc committee on this. It's been a long road, and we appreciate you both for your thorough work and recommendations. And I just want to finally note in the record that the city continues to not enforce the green zone paddle requirement at the Ventura courts out here, despite numerous complaints for the noise violations. And as far as I can tell, there's zero effort to enforce this requirement. And most likely because it's impossible to enforce it. Because unless you hired a security guard to sit there at all hours of the 7 hours a day of pickleball play to say, do you have a green paddle on you? So I just want to note that in the record, that the policy, that requirement is not being enforced, and that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and I don't have any other speakers on that, so we will go back to our commission for discussion. Is there any other further discussion given the public comments before we move forward?
Just to cross some T's here, I think the other thing that Luis brought up from September was, which locations were going to be assessed. And initially there'd been a request for us to look at other locations on the City Hall campus. And so when we went out there, Luis also informed us of work of another committee that's working on kind of a plan for the campus. And so there really wasn't much space that hadn't been carved out for other things. And then we added the Soul Park because I know initially we talked about that really not being part of our purview, but given what the city's been in talks with the county about, we thought it was appropriate at that point.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. I think that's good.
And I would agree with the comment regarding transparency. I think that if staff can facilitate having a member of each group, I think that would be appropriate to have someone there that can observe. I don't know that participation would be appropriate, but for observation purposes, we could maybe set some boundaries or some guidelines, but I think it would be a good idea to have it observed.
I'd like to reiterate, observing is one thing, and obviously these are all public spaces. And I think probably the most expedient way to deal with this is if we get approval and we get a schedule with our consultant, we could certainly publicize that schedule, and then these are public spaces, so that, people wanted to come in. But I think observing is the key, and I think to have to have interactions or explanations or suggestions or whatever, it would, would really slow down the process. And we were trying to get all 3 sites done in one day. And, part of the whole recommendation here is to bring in an expert and to, in their proposal, or refer you to their proposal, it's very, very thorough in what they would, how they would do the testing and how they would come to their recommendations and their suggestions for mitigation. And it was the most thorough proposal that we received. I mean, none of the other proposals had mentioned anything about paddles or anything else. So this is, they intend to do a very thorough job. So I just, again, these are public places. My only concern is that that it's for observation purposes only, and because we will be on an extremely tight deadline. Because at this point, I don't really know how much time will be needed at each site. And there will be a logistical, one logistical job that we will have to facilitate, and that is to get people to play pickleball. Because if you want actual sounds in the actual places, we're going to have to have people playing pickleball.
Yeah, it would be simulating the gameplay, and just kind of to help address the concern, and something just for the commission to consider. One of the things that we can go ahead and do if the commission wishes is just reach out to either the president of the group or the group itself and have them designate one individual or 2 individuals, and then invite them to simply observe. I think that might be the best, because otherwise it could be where we end up with.
I would agree. They are public spaces. Certainly, we can't prohibit anybody from observing. I think that collaboration is best. I mean, I think everybody, whether they're here or watching on Zoom, knows that that there's involved parties, and I think it would be. I just think it's important to make those connections and make sure that everyone knows what's going on and on what day, and just a reminder that their role is in an observation role. It's just so, like Commissioner Wilson said, to move it along and not impede, but to observe.
Yeah, and I would refer anybody to the proposal, which these are publicly available for the methodology that they're going to be using, because I would just imagine that, there might be questions about that. And while they're doing the testing, that's not the appropriate time for them to stop and explain what they're doing. But that information is all available in the proposal. So,
Clearly there's a time-sensitive nature to this. Is there a time-sensitive nature to getting them here on the 14th or the 15th? And moving it forward, it'll go to council right away? And
so essentially, we already have the direction from council. Essentially, what will happen is whatever dollar amount the commission designates, I'll go ahead and consult with the city manager, also work with the city attorney's office to go ahead and create an agreement for scope of services or the services to be completed. And absolutely, if we can go ahead and get that done in time, we'll move forward with.
Okay, so the fees are $11,900 for what we're looking to do, and
plus travel expenses.
But the travel expenses are, if we do it on the 14th or 15th, are 2 nights of hotel and some additional.
So from last month, my recollection, it was going to be 11,900 since they were going to go ahead and be here. Now, and speaking with Mr. Unitek, he did indicate that there was some changes. I can't recall if it was to the flight or to the hotel, so it could slightly be over 11,900. At this particular time, right? So again, if the commission wanted to designate an amount.
Well, just to clarify, what I've understood is, there's going to be the flight, the return flight, the rental car expense.
Yeah, the rent.
And a couple of nights of a hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
So the real unknown is the flight
Changes and
changes
how much
because,
that's gonna cost them.
the short, that's why we, if we
We
get
can
this
maybe
going.
word it like the 11,900 plus reasonable travel.
That would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Defer to
that.
staff.
yeah.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion, or do we have any other discussion on this?
All right, I'll make the motion what are we doing? We're not selecting the firm, or we're,
Approve,
We're,
approve.
we're,
To make a
we are,
recommendation to select them.
yeah.
a recommendation to select the Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC to perform the sound engineering related to the pickleball in Ojai.
Yes,
Motion?
yes, that's it.
But,
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Did you want to add the costs?
For 11,900 plus
Plus-
reasonable
Plus
travel?
reasonable
Is that-
travel
is that
expenses.
fine?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Excellent.
Okay, so with that, Vice Chair Idner,
Yes.
Commissioner Firestone,
Yes.
Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you for all the hard work.
Yeah.
I'm glad to get that.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to item C, which is an after-school program update. Let the commission receive an update on past after-school programming provided by the Recreation Department, what is currently being offered in the community, and what is required to offer an after-school program. And I understand things have also changed in the community, so I hope that that's part of your update.
Oh, not necessarily. We weren't able to go ahead and confirm, so we didn't want to share any information that was not confirmed. But I will, we'll go ahead and mention it. Okay. So at its October 6, 2022 meeting, the commission received a comment from Mr. Sean Higdon regarding the closure of Holy Cross Preschool. During this time, Mr. Higdon noted that the school would be closing in the near future and requested the commission consider child care services. At the conclusion of the meeting, it was requested that at this meeting, staff provided an update on past after-school programming provided by the Recreation Department, what is currently offered in the community, and what would be required to offer an after-school program through the Recreation Department. As far as after-school programming that the department previously offered, in past, the department partnered with the Ojai Unified School District to provide an after-school program for elementary students, kindergarten through sixth grade. The program was offered at Topa Topa in Miners Oaks Elementary Schools and operated from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. It was set up or arranged not to exceed 20 hours per week. Enrollment was on a first-come, first-served basis with a maximum of 30 students per day with a cost of $12 per student. The program offered indoor and outdoor play, assistance with homework, arts and crafts, opportunities, and a snack. To host a program at the sites, the department was required to maintain liability insurance of $1 million in coverage and provide OUSD with $500 per month per site to utilize classroom and outdoor areas. What is currently being offered through the community, the Recreation Department is offering a fall and winter camp. Both camps have full and half-day options and include an early drop-off for parents. That would be at 7 a.m. Cost to attend really varies based off of the half-day, full-day, and early drop-off. However, it roughly equates to about $4 per hour per child. Additionally, through the city, there are a variety of after-school programs available for children. The Ojai Unified School District offers programs at its Topa Topa schools, Topa Topa, Miners Oaks, Miramani, and San Antonio school sites. These after-school programs are available Monday through Friday up until 5:30 p.m. OSD, the school district charges $10 per day per child, but also offers a reduced rate of $5 per day for those who qualify. At Matilha Middle School, there's also offerings available. Offerings are from clubs, and the offerings include math assistance, homework help, athletic programs, reading and academic support, as well as other offerings. These clubs, the meeting time is roughly about like an hour or so after school, and it is free to attend. Furthermore, private schools such as like Oak Grove, Noah's Ark, Ojai Valley School, and Monica Ross also offer after-school programs. Programs are available from morning hours up until 5:30 p.m. and the cost does vary per school. As an example, Oak Grove offers care starting at $48 for 4 hours for children kindergarten through 4th grade from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., while Noah's Ark offers half and full day options from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. For toddlers and preschoolers. Fees for 5 full days a week for 1 month is $1,000, which roughly equates to $475 per hour, and $920 for preschoolers, which that roughly equates to $4.38 per hour. Requirements to host an after-school program through the Recreation Department and being compliant with the California Department of Social Services based on the information provided in the CDSS manual. As seen in Attachment A, the department can host an after-school program with or without a license. With a license, the department has the most flexibility. This option allows the department to operate more than 16 hours per week and more than 12 weeks per year, opposed to running without a license. Without a license, the hours would be limited to 16 hours per week and can run up to a total of 12 weeks during a week during a 12-month period. This would roughly equate to 3 hours a day for 4 months per year. In addition to being licensed, and although not required for being unlicensed, there are several requirements that the department and program must meet. Some noteworthy requirements is going to be for staff to have certain credits in early childhood development, with, of course, passing grades from accredited or approved college or university, and at least 6 months of work and experience in a licensed child care facility center or a comparable group. Each site must have a director on premise during operating hours. A director, again, must have 15 semesters or 15 semester units or equivalent quarter units, as specified in the manual at an accredited college or university, and at least 4 years of teaching experience in a licensed child care center or comparable program. The department must also provide 35 square feet of indoor activity space per child based off of the total license capacity, which would be set by the state. Per the handbook provided by the state, bathrooms, halls, and offices, insulated areas, food areas, and storage places are not included in the calculation of indoor activity space. With either scenario of being licensed or unlicensed, the department does face a few obstacles in hosting the program. The first is the location to host the program. I know Kent Hall has been mentioned in the past. However, as staff looked into this option, we learned that there are several community groups who use the space for meetings. Those groups include a sewing group, a Democratic Club, the Crew, the Land Conservancy, Ojai Valley Green Coalition, as well as the city. The city uses it, again, for a variety of meetings. And although the meetings are not on a regular basis at this time, it is important to note that most of the meetings, they do take place in the afternoon hours. At the Recreation Department, again, in the afternoon hours, the facility is being utilized by other programs which are currently running. The second challenge would be logistics. The previous program offered by the department offered a smooth transition because the school and the program were on the same campus. So the logistical challenge would be transporting the children from multiple schools to Kent Hall. This would be especially true if there's children that's signing up from different schools. And a potential issue with that would be like any unforeseen traffic delays or longer than usual school pickup times getting from one location to another. The third noteworthy challenge is staffing shortages. Since the onset of the pandemic, the city has experienced personnel vacancies due to retirements and lack of qualified candidates. The city is in the recruitment process, including recruiting for the recreation department, but has experienced challenges in finding qualified candidates. If the commission wishes to further explore the possibility of hosting an after-school program, staff can definitely conduct further research in overcoming the challenges provided. And with this, I will turn it over to the commission for any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you for all that work.
yeah, of course, and yep.
Sharing what all is out there for everyone to participate in.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
thank
the
you.
challenges for any new ones opening up anytime soon,
Yep.
not to, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It is. I knew there was going to be certain challenges, but when we really started digging into that manual, it really became apparent. I mean, things could be done, but it's just unfortunately, it just can't happen the next day. There's work
Well,
that
and
has to be
space
behind
is
it.
an issue.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And staff, yeah. Okay.
I appreciate this. It seems like the logical conclusion from this is not to do anything at this point, but to encourage the public, if there is a very specific need or interest, that we should hear more from them. And
Mhm.
I think that would maybe be what makes us look more into it.
And to continue to cover breaks, because I think that we do very well.
Right.
It's part of what, our current programming, and if ever there's a need to expand that, I think that's definitely worth looking.
Yeah, and that's something that we're absolutely receptive to. We're exploring possibilities whenever we can host camps. We'll definitely host camps.
Yeah, so keep that up. I think that's great.
Okay, any other questions or comments, discussions on that item? Okay, we will move on to D, Soul Park update. Recommendation is that the commission receive an update on discussions between the city of Ojai and the county of Ventura regarding the use of Soul Park.
Absolutely.
Please? Sorry, do you
Uh,
need some water?
I will try to keep these as brief as possible. No, I'm okay. So at its September meeting, the commission received an update from on the city's efforts to partner with the county of Ventura for the utilization of Soul Park. During this time, staff noted the city had engaged in conversations with county representatives, Parks Deputy Director Coulter Chisholm, and Ventura County Supervisor Matt Levere to gauge whether there would be an interest in forming a partnership where the city would have the ability to use Soul Park for recreation, programming, and other uses. Since that date, the city and county representatives continue to work together to form a proposal that would work for both agencies. One of the city's goals is so that community members would be able to go ahead and enjoy the park free, essentially without any gate fees. More recently, staff submitted the following one-year pilot proposal to the county for consideration, which would, again, it's going to be for a one-year pilot operating partnership. The city would essentially pay an annual fee to the county to utilize the park. That, for lack of better words, would eliminate the gate fee. Community members would have the ability to go ahead and use the park, the paddleball courts, dog park, paddle tennis, a dog park, and other facilities. The recreation department or the city would also have first rights to utilize the fields for a reduced rate. Hourly rate would be $6.25 per hour and then all day would be $27.50. Essentially, the recreation department in the city would be able to go ahead and utilize the facilities there for a reduced rate while community members were able to go ahead and enjoy the park without a cost. The county would still continue to manage the park. They would take care of all the maintenance, including landscaping, watering, the trees out there. So that's one of the parts here is that the county would continue in planning the execution of the CAL FIRE grant, which includes $577,000 in the tree removal and replacement. They would also have the hosts on site. And so in a nutshell, that's a little bit about the pilot project. And on September 26th, staff did hear from Deputy Director Coulter Chisholm, where it was noted the county found the proposal to be acceptable and requested that the terms be put into a formal agreement, a memorandum of agreement, before proceeding, before this could be presented to the Board of Supervisors for consideration. Following that, at its September 27th City Council meeting, City Council received an update on the efforts to partner with the county for the use of Soul Park. After discussing the item and deliberating the idea, it was moved by Councilmember Wyrick and seconded by Councilmember Francina to approve the proposal for the partnership as presented. Now, again, it is important to know that although City Council has approved this, this still needs to go to the Board of Supervisors for approval. To this end, staff does recommend that at its next or an upcoming meeting, the commission consider engaging into a discussion about programming that could potentially be developed for Soul Park, in addition to discussing fundraising strategies for a pickleball facility. And with that, I will turn it over to the commission for any questions or comments.
Thank you. So the fees for the use, that could be for softball or soccer even, I guess, or practices,
Yeah,
right?
soccer, softball. We're very much hoping to do flag football once again. Right now, although not related to this, but we're working on basketball. So basketball, we got that up and going. And so the next would be flag football. So that could be another sport that could be played out
And
there.
so the user fees, the program would cost to offer the programming. Is that, is there any other programming that we do that we pay a fee for? What other off-site, non-city-based parks are we doing programming in? I guess the pool maybe would be, the pools would be
pool.
another example?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
the
that's
pool.
kind of standard for us to pay a reduced fee for stuff like that.
Mhm.
But the public that is wanting to go to Soul Park, whether they're going to go ride their horse in the arena or go to the dog park or play tennis, paddleball, pickleball, whatever, they're completely free.
That is correct.
Okay. And no parking fees whatsoever
Correct. Yeah, no parking
For
fees.
anyone.
for
Yeah.
anyone.
City or
Yeah,
otherwise.
for city or
It's
county
very
residents.
generous of the city.
Very generous of us. That
Yeah.
part I'm.
And the kind of renting the fields, though, that's possible now without this agreement, right?
That is possible now. It would just be at a slightly higher rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
From a programming standpoint, we're considering those fields, but have we checked the condition? Do we know that those are fields that we can use? Because I don't think they're maintained as fields. And if those aren't in a condition where we can program them, who's responsible for getting them there and how is that organized? Because that's not in the MOU, and I think if we're going to talk about them being sports fields, we need to be sure that they're safe sports fields. Because I'm, just, and I'm not an expert on those things, but, because that's not in the agreement.
Well,
To what degree they will maintain
I mean,
anything.
it seems a little premature because, as I understand, as was explained at City Council and has been explained, this, what is here is simply a framework, and that a more detailed memo of understanding would have to be created.
But they're working on that right now.
Are they working on that right
yeah,
now?
So, yeah, that's.
So something
that's-
to be
yeah,
included
that's
is what you're
something.
hoping
I think
to.
we're assuming, we're talking about programming and recreation. The safety is a question, and what those fields look like is a question. Are they usable for us at this point? And if they're not, we don't have anything written into that MOU
To get them to
about how
usable
we would
point.
get them to a condition that would serve our needs.
Well, and same probably for the courts. I think last I was there, it was a while ago, but the tennis courts were in a little bit of disrepair. I think there was some concrete abruptment there, right?
So we're talking that the maintenance is built in, but to what level? Because at its current level, I'm not sure if it's sufficient to do the programming that we'd like to do. I mean, so that's, and I haven't heard a discussion of that.
Sure.
And
Well,
so- and- Go ahead.
Well, But have we actually been authorized by the city council to have this discussion?
That's what they asked us to do,
Yeah.
about programming. Can't program if you can't, if it's not
Yeah.
ready to be programmed.
Yeah, so to answer Vice Chair Ittner's question, have the fields been assessed? They have not been assessed, but it's something that if the commission definitely wants to go ahead and make that recommendation, or verbiage of that nature be put into the MOA, we could definitely go ahead
Yeah,
and
but
take that.
definition of maintenance needs to
Yep.
be in there.
Right.
What that means for the needs that we would need to program it and what we're gonna wanna do there, which is flag football, which if you could do flag football, you could do soccer.
Right.
There's all those kinds of field sports, but I think we need to be assured that it's at a certain condition to do that
Sure.
safely.
Yeah.
And I think, so I'm asking questions on the part that's supposed to be our purview. I'm gonna make a statement about the part that isn't. The gate fees that we're paying for everyone, we pay that, and it's open to everyone, no one pays a gate fee. I don't have the details, nor do I know where to look for them. But I think that a lot of their gate fees are weekends. Because that's when they have a lot of rentals, and that's when they actually, what I've experienced personally is just that they have someone at the gate to collect them on weekends that are busy. So it would be interesting to know the numbers on how they came up with the $58,000 to cover all gate fees and a breakdown of that, because what we're really getting for that is first right of refusal on booking and possibly a 50% reduction of fees that are not exorbitant fees anyway. The agreement for $1 to lease that piece of the, for the pickleball or for future use for some other type of facility. And then what we will be able to rent is possibly up to our condition, but possibly not. And so I have questions about, we need to have in there, we need to have this work for us to book, to program it the way that we'd like to. And I don't know that we've done any groundwork on that. And I think if it's not there, before you sign the MOU, you'd want to kind of come to an agreement how we'll get it there. But-
So I'm just a little confused about the process here, because has the Board of Supervisors signed off on this
No, they have not,
framework?
no.
Okay, so the
But
Board
the
of
city
Supervisors.
council has.
They have.
The city council has.
City council has, the
And
Board
so-
of Supervisors has not.
So,
No, there's-
and what kind of conversations are going on right now between yourself and anybody at the county?
Absolutely. So at this moment, we're working on the MOA. We've presented a draft MOA. Just today, we heard back from county representatives for some modification of language. So we're working on that as we speak. So again, if the commission wanted to go ahead and make a recommendation to include any sort of language for maintenance of the fields, because I absolutely agree with you 100%.
We need an assessment.
Yeah.
I guess that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for, is an
Yes.
assessment of current condition and whether it is
Yes.
feasible to do the programming that we're looking for. And if not, what would that take, and how would that be part of the MOU, not only to get it to condition, but then to maintain it at that condition?
Yeah, I guess, again, I'm confused if we don't know what's in the MOU right now.
It's
But-
mostly laid out right
It's-
here.
yeah,
it's-
very-
it's this
not
information
detailed.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not detailed.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
These are the highlights of the MOU that's being
Yeah.
drafted.
Yeah.
I would agree, the only thing that we would need to add is if the Recreation Department is being tasked with programming, and it's assumed that it is programmable condition, we need to confirm that, and if there's a need to, I don't know, address squirrel holes or something, some condition that there's a plan in place for repair. It's really a repair issue.
So one of the things that I can go ahead and know is there is an ad hoc committee from council level, and so two council members, myself and city manager, went out. We walked the facility. From my recollection, the fields and the courts looked good. There wasn't anything that stood out, but to answer the question, there's no detailed assessment of the actual fields itself. So whether there could be
A lot of gopher holes.
gopher holes or so that definitely could be a recommendation that the commission passes
And
on to the ad hoc.
Is the Recreation Department considering doing anything with the equestrian area?
Yes, that's something that we'd want to go ahead and do. We currently offer horsemanship courses, so we'd want to go ahead and explore shifting those to that facility.
Well, you definitely want to add maintenance to your MOU then, because it's in disrepair. The ground itself is not in good condition to have that type of activity there, so
Okay.
I mean, I can speak to that.
Yep.
I know it maybe looks nice, but to someone who actually rides and uses it, it's actually kind of dangerous.
Okay.
It's very
Yeah.
shifty, very dry.
I think without the maintenance piece, I mean, this is basically waiving the parking fees, right? Because we can already rent all these facilities at the park without this agreement. And beyond that, we have less control than if it was a city-owned property where we're in control of how much maintenance happens there. We're kind of at the whims of the county and how much maintenance they provide.
Which I think just speaks to the need to be clear about it in an MOU,
Right.
about the expectations.
I think the county's response is going to be that it's an enterprise fund and that it makes its money on user fees, and that's the offset to the gate fees. But short of their budgeted capital improvements, I don't think we're going to see any, I don't think there is much on there.
So they make it on the rental and the gate fees, and we're gonna cover the gate fees.
Correct.
And
That's my
So-
understanding.
so there's their budget for maintenance.
Yes.
So it would seem important to me, I agree, you know, this definitely needs to be clarified about maintenance or the current conditions and what maintenance might be needed and who's responsible for what. But I also think we need to know better what the Recreation Department has in mind as far as programming goes, because it sounds like you already have quite a few ideas.
Sure,
And
well, and
that's-
that's,
that
and
has
that's
to
why
be-
we'd bring it to the commission
Yeah,
level.
but I don't,
to-
I don't know what those are. I mean,
Well,
it
I
would
mean, if
be,
anything, we have all sports fields, we always need
Right.
more of. For either, you know, for
Soccer,
us, or partnership
softball.
programs, yeah, soccer, flag football. There's lots of things I think we could come up with to program. But for me, it's is it in a condition that it's ready to be programmed?
right, but don't you sort of need to know what you want to use in order to know what issues you want to bring up or what specifics you want to put into any kind of memo?
I think
In terms of
staff's
maintenance.
pretty
Yeah, I think Steph's got a handle
familiar.
on
I
that.
think that's what that ad hoc committee was about on a council level, was to address the usage,
Okay, well,
So I think we're just being tasked with the question of, is it programmable, right? Can we use it for programs?
Well, I think,
I think the answer is yes, with insurances that it is.
Well, I think with an
Well-
assessment,
yep.
I think we need to assess condition.
Yeah,
before
well,
we-
that and having a discussion of, other than, what we initially discussed about programming, is there any others, programs that the commission would like to go ahead and see out there as well? I think it would be something that could be at, collegial level between staff and the
Given that the
commission.
city council's already approved this, I think they've already decided it's programmable.
That
I think
doesn't-
this is really important that we bring this up now, but it's not like this is going to stop this from going ahead.
But our point, but our
Well, they're
role-
drafting the MOU right as we speak.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
council's
MOU.
approved the concept of the $58,000 to be paid, but the MOU is in draft form, meaning the council hasn't signed the MOU.
Right.
Because there isn't one,
Right.
but they're drafting it. So as a commission, we can recommend that staff, we can take back to council to include in the MOU a concern over preparation to make
Well, I
the
think it-
facilities usable.
I think we need an assessment of the facilities and the fields.
By
for
who?
I think a thorough assessment from staff would
Yeah,
be good.
from
To go
staff.
out on those fields and walk,
Yeah.
really looking for, is this to the same condition that people play on at
As
Sunbury Park?
Zarzati.
Is this safe? Is this, is this gonna work for programming? We know what we have there is safe. We have conditions that we have to improve all the time, and you guys are constantly working on it. But we know what that looks, I think staff knows what that looks like, but to do a thorough upfront assessment of where it is. And then if it needs to be different, then a checklist of things that need to be different. And then an agreement that we will maintain it to that level. And not, I think we need to go in with eyes open
Yeah.
and make sure that what we're agreeing to is something where we actually have a facility that we can program. And I'm not sure that's been done. Yeah, that's Yeah.
I mean, is it gonna be out of recreation department's, budget, or is it
No.
gonna be something that's given to the recreation department?
All good questions.
I couldn't speak on to what specific fund it would be coming from, but it has, their staff did look at its annual budget and did allocate those $58,000 for a potential partnership. So, or has identified those funds for a potential partnership. What specific fund it's coming from, I couldn't tell you right offhand.
Who is actually drafting the MOU?
It's-
What, is it the ad hoc that's working together with the city and the county, or who's actually doing the writing?
That actually would be myself along with our legal team.
Okay.
I think the thing too is it's in the MOU,
Mhm.
if conditions aren't suitable, what's our recourse and how do we handle
Mhm.
that? You know, somewhere in there, you know.
So I think that this is an administrative update, and I think that the takeaway for staff would be that I think many of the commissioners are concerned about the usability of that, and they're not asking for a recommendation in this. This is just
It's our discussion.
Yeah, just a discussion. To bear that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and one
Because
thing
it's
that
really going to fall on you.
yeah,
to,
no,
right?
and,
Okay.
yeah, and one of the things that I'm going to go ahead and do is, share with the ad hoc committee, and I think that these are very, very valid points. Safety is one of our biggest priorities in anything that we do in recreation. So I think that this is a very valid point. So I'll go ahead and share this with the ad hoc. We'll incorporate it into the MOU, because it has that, or excuse, I should clarify, MOA, Memorandum of Understanding. We'll make sure that gets incorporated in there. So, and again,
Memorandum of agreement.
agreement,
It's not
yeah,
an
agreement.
MOA.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We do have a public comment on this.
Doing things out of order.
Sorry.
No, that's-
Mr. Miley, on 6D, Soul Park.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Miley.
Still.
So item 6D, the Soul Park next step plans in the commission document look really good. So these plans get from me a big smile. I strongly support moving ahead with developing the pickleball court facility there. Additional ideas which we have talked about, I believe, in the past, that will make this site a fine sports facility, and in addition, in order to make it a fine sports facility, in addition, we need to complete the Ojai Valley Trail to Soul Park. And another idea is to provide during tournaments golf course type vehicles to take people from downtown Ojai out there and back on a regular basis. And then very important in the construction would be to provide shading and lights. Now, the whole concept of developing this into a really fine pickleball site is for regional tournaments, but it also fits into what you may have heard or participated in, is an interest in considering having a valley-wide park and recreation district which would be supported by parcel funding. And last, I recall in the budget hearings by the city council several months ago, there was talk about having a designated amount of money put into the budget coming up for the building of pickleball courts And as I recall, there was something like $100,000. So this is, I think, a real fine next step movement to get this set up out at Soul Park and have maybe a regional wide, maybe world class pickleball facility there. So this is really great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, any other speakers? No? Thank you. Okay, and again, just a discussion and update. We don't need a motion on that, so we'll move on to our last discussion item, which is the Sarasota Multipurpose Sports Courts update.
So we are happy to report that this week we've met with 2 local engineering firms to discuss the project. Both engineering firms, Phoenix Civil Engineering and Jensen Design Group, indicated that they are able and have the ability, most important part, have the ability to assist with the project. In the meeting, we discussed the project design, work which has been completed, including geotechnical, arborist review, topographic surveys, court layout and placement. Both firms did provide a hypothetical timeline when the project would be completed, which includes a bid phase, construction phase, and again, when the project can be completed. Both firms did indicate that they estimated the project would take about 8 weeks to go ahead and construct from start to finish, and a target date, which both kind of fell right around the time frame, was noted to be June of 2023. So the engineering firms could provide the city an accurate proposal for the work to be done. Staff provided copies of the reports, CAD files for the project, and both firms are set to review those files in detail and will provide a quote in the near future for that work. In addition to meeting with the engineering firms, staff continues to work with the city's building department. One thing to know is that the project will likely trigger the public art requirement, similar to the Libby Playground project. The city's public art program requires that 2% of the total building valuation be set aside for original artwork to be placed at the site. The valuation is set by the building official, who will advise staff if that qualifies. Staff will continue to work to move this project forward, and with that being said, I will turn it over to the commission for any questions or comments.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
And I'm glad you found some local engineering firms.
Yes. Yeah, I think that just bringing it back to local, smaller, is really going to help push it forward.
Great, I have no other further comments on that. Anyone else? Okay. And I think just a verbal report on the number 7. I didn't see a staff report.
Yeah, just a
one?
verbal.
Okay.
Verbal. So we're happy to announce that the department is going to be hosting a fall camp November 21st through the 23rd for children ages 5 to 13. Our staff will facilitate small group activities, arts and craft, scavenger hunts, sports activities, movie time, and more. In addition to that, we will also be hosting a winter camp. Winter camp will be held December 26th through the 30th and January 2nd through the 6th. Both of those times are when schools are on break. And again, we'll do a variety of activities. As mentioned earlier, we are very, very happy to go ahead and report that our Youth Basketball League programs, registration for that program is now available. Have announced it social media, and we'll be sending a mass email for past participants as well. Anybody who is interested, we definitely encourage you to come on over and register. You can register register online or in person there at the office. We always welcome folks to come by and say hello. In addition to that, or in preparation for that youth basketball league, we're also hosting a youth basketball clinic. The youth basketball clinic is going to be held November 21st through the 25th with, again, Coach Eric, the last coach that did our last clinic. He's going to be hosting it once again. And in addition to that, we do have our theater class with Marissa Perini. That is currently going, and we are still accepting registrations for it. This month, we'd like to go ahead and highlight our soccer program with the Ventura County Fusion. Coach Pat does an amazing job out there with the kids. I always hear them having a lot of fun, which really warms up the spirit. I will say that when I first went to the recreation department, I heard kids screaming and laughing, and I heard a gentleman yelling. I'm like, who's yelling at these kids? And so I went out, and it was Coach Pat. It was interacting and running around, and all the kids were chasing him. It was really, really, really neat to see. Future goals for the department is to continue developing more programming for our seniors, and we have a target date where we're going to go ahead and work on making some of those programs available starting in June of 2023. And with that concludes our update.
Thank you. Okay, and we have a city council liaison report.
Not this time
No,
around.
not tonight, okay. Commissioner reports and comments. Ella, is there anything that you'd like to report about local sports teams?
Yeah, our volleyball team is going to the finals on Saturday. Yeah.
For girls volleyball at Nordhoff, they are doing amazing. And my only thing to comment on was we mentioned it in passing to staff was the interest that is growing in the valley. Maybe not as large as pickleball, but the volleyball at even a junior high level and is really, really growing.
Yeah.
And I think, as far as I know, the next closest place to play in an organized way is in Ventura. In fact, my daughter's there now playing till 8 o'clock at night because the first session was full. So 7 p.m. to 8:15 in Ventura twice a week. So it would be really nice if, I think there is a demand, and if the staff could look into getting that programmed available. I know we kind of discussed maybe Saturdays and when that would work, but I think there's a huge demand for it, and a lot of leaders in the valley that would step up, including some
Yeah, I would
high
love
school
to go ahead
seniors.
and that's one of the things that we explored initially or during like summertime, and we're definitely receptive to it. I think right now, just with basketball and gymnastics going, I think right after basketball, I think it would be great if we could hear from one of those leaders. I'd love to go ahead and connect with them. Definitely open to the idea.
Great. That's my only comment.
There's a high school senior, ninth grade, who started like the boys Manila Hall volleyball program. So I don't know, he might be with it.
Yeah, if you, yeah.
Oh, is that
if
the
you-
one that assists on the court sometimes?
Maybe Beck Zimmerman. I don't know.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
I would say that's Rin's brother.
Yeah,
That's how I know him as. Okay, great. I'll reach out.
Good luck this weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
You guys did great.
Yes. And that's at home, correct?
No, it's
Oh.
a neutral location.
Neutral location. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, maybe there was a live feed available for anybody that wants to watch it. Okay. Okay, great. We've got some future agenda items. We will expect an update on the Sarasota multi-sport court. That'll be great. And then we should have the playground survey results back for our next meeting. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that Seth will go ahead and do is we'll just one final push on notifying the public of that survey and its
Like another
availability.
blast of sorts?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we'll make sure it gets in the paper as well.
Okay, great. And then our next meeting, Thursday, December 1st, at 6 o'clock. Just a reminder, sometimes when the first is actually on a Thursday, it sneaks up on you. I know from past experience. So yes, just a note, maybe I'll send out a text, or you could send out a email
Reminder.
Thursday morning, because that always seems to sneak up when it's on the Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just ask
Yes.
about a couple of possible future agenda items? One, I did think it would be important for us to get an update next month again on the Soul Park.
I think we asked for monthly on that, didn't we? Or no?
Oh, yes, for monthly on Sarasota
Oh.
Yeah.
multipurpose,
Okay.
but
I'm sorry.
Park?
monthly might be
Yeah.
in line for the Soul Park memo progress.
Sure.
And also, again, if this is not appropriate, let me know, but, I've noted that a lot of other recreation departments have master plans, and I know there's a Sarasota master plan, but the master plan I could find for City of Ojai Recreation Department is dated 2012. So I wonder if we could at least have a discussion about possibly updating or creating a new master plan, because there's a lot of great things going on, and it feels like if we could just get a better sense of how it all fits together, and the Soul Park thing sort of adds a whole nother element. So
Over
if
the
we
years,
could-
we have definitely wanted to do a master
Yeah.
plan.
So if we could discuss that, because I've
I
You know,
think
worked on
since
several
we're kind
master
of at
plans,
the,
so.
we've put so much time into pickleball. I say a lot as the ad hoc majority, but this topic and moving
Oh,
through
yeah.
the community has taken up so much of the commission's time and I feel like we're kind of getting at least towards the finish line to some reasonable recommendations. So, because certainly when we did the Sarasota master plan, that was, it took hours of each
Yeah.
meeting, and it does tend to, I think, wear on the commission if we overload them with things. But I think as we're nearing that timing is, maybe we can just bring the last master plan to the next meeting so that we can digest that as we move on.
I don't think there is a last master plan.
2012.
Oh, I was going to say,
I don't believe that was a full
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
know,
just-
I mean,
plan for the system. I don't know that there is any that I know of for the
Yeah.
whole system,
okay.
other than whatever is included in the general plan, which is not
Right.
a master plan.
Right.
It's the
Right.
plan, it's a piece of the general plan.
yeah.
And Libby has had a master plan, but it's older. I
Ah.
don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
that is.
97.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so there's sort
Never
of
had a
master plans for different
Yeah.
pieces, but not the overall,
Right.
yeah.
It's like,
Okay.
great.
No,
How did all the other rec department directors get out of this?
It's come up many times, but it usually has a lot to do with expense.
Well, it could be useful, though, to just start with what there does exist, so we can sort of see, that
The
history.
framework.
But there's also, I've come across quite a few really great examples of city master plans. And by the way, I'll say, pickleball seems to drive recreation departments toward master plans.
Well, because the volume of people playing 7 days a week is, we can't deny that it is very popular, so.
So, future agenda item, master planning. At some point.
Future? Yeah.
Discussion regarding
Yeah,
master.
Okay.
yeah, discussion, regarding.
Okay. Great. With that, I will adjourn at 8:12.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank
you.
you for joining us, Epi.
I know.
Thank you.
I always
Have a good one.
forget the online participants. Thank you
Maybe
for
drop
being
in
here tonight.
Have a good one.
Yes, that's go Saturday? Yeah. Go rest and relax. Yeah. Gotta do my homework. I know.